Today we're ranking every single Clash Royale evolution from worst to best, starting off with the Tesla. The Tesla is really outclassed by the Evo Cannon, the Evo Cage, and in certain circumstances, the Inferno Tower. There's really not a point where you'd rather have a Tesla over any of those things. It's like, do you want to specialize in one thing, like Inferno Tower's good at tanks, or do you want to be mid at everything? At 29, we have the Goblin Drill. Goblin Drill's not good in the meta, so if it's not good, then the Evo's not going to be good. It's not easy to play, and it's definitely not something that is mid-ladder friendly that, you know, I'd recommend something like Hog to play to mid-ladder players. This thing is really just not it right now. I am going to get crucified for this one. 28 is the Dark Goblin. Now, I'm looking at the stats for the top 1000. Last season, this had a 1% use rate and a 49% win rate. Yeah, almost everything has like a 49% win rate. But the Dark Goblin is... there's 10 people using it in the entire top 1000? Something's wrong. Maybe it dies too easily. Maybe bait's not the best right now. I don't know what the problem is, but right now the Dark Goblin's stats are pitifully lower than almost every Evo in the game. 27 is the Snowball. I understand that this thing is getting a buff to its slowdown duration area. I already got a buff by the time this video is out, and I just don't think that's enough to make people use it. I mean, it's a walking King Tower activation if anything's in the middle of the arena, and it just doesn't fit as well in a lot of decks. Like, you'd rather have a log or maybe arrows or an Evo Zap, but I don't know, something's wrong with the Snowball. I don't know what you gotta do to make it better, but it's clearly just not it right now. Pekka at number 26, it fell off the face of the earth after 3 straight nerfs. Getting a Royal Chef and a range nerf was definitely overkill, and it's gone from being a viable deck to being useless in bridge spam and beatdown, although it was really overpowered. I'm not sure if the Pekka is balanced or bad, but it is clearly not doing good right now. The Royal Giant at number 25. Now, I do this a lot in every Evo ranking. The Royal Giant Evo is just not it. I mean, you get the advantage of killing Evo Skellies, looking cool, and getting maybe an extra hit by knocking back something like a melee unit. Oftentimes, you're going to find yourself getting the exact same value you would out of a normal Royal Giant, and Royal Giant decks maybe would rather use Skellies and Hunter than Royal Giant and Hunter or Royal Giant and Skellies. So the Royal Giant, while it's a great win condition, its Evo is just not very good. Next up is the Battle Ram. I guess, you know, you're going to have some comments. Your Battle Ram is better than the Pekka, really? I think so. I mean, the Battle Ram has its moments where it's like amazing, and then it has its moments where it's just your regular Battle Ram, and unfortunately the regular Battle Ram moments outshine the this is an Evo moment, except, you know, Evo Barbs is cool, I guess. It's not a game changer. It really isn't. Barbarians, they've gotten better over time. They've started to fall off again, and the Evo Barbs are just, you know, they're like the Battle Ram in the sense that they don't get consistent value. When they get value, it is insane, and you're very thankful you have them. But there's lots of matchups out there where you have Barbs and they just get no value. And are you willing to waste your Evo slot on that? The Wizard. Now, the Wizard is such a tricky Evo to rank because I think the Evo is amazing, but the Wizard, not so amazing. So it falls towards lower on the list because its use rate is it's horrible. Its win rate is not very good either. Its versatility not very good either. So there's not really much going for the Wizard outside of the fact that his Evo is good, because you have to put up with the normal Wizard, and that's not very fun. The Archers. The Archers are good in the sense that if your opponent doesn't have arrows, they won't instantly die. It's hard to rank all those cards. Like, maybe that's what was wrong with the Dark Goblin. He just dies really fast. But the Archers can get really good value if you can not have them die instantly, which a lot of the time is out of your control, which is why they're ranked lower on the list. I think Evo Archers can get insane value, but they die too easily, and if they didn't die too easily, well, that would be top 5 Evo in the game maybe. But yeah, the base Archers are not that good, but the Evo is really good. It's just that they die too easily, and, you know, it's hard to get a consistent value out of them. Next up is the Wall Breakers. Now, the Wall Breakers are fun. Definitely have seen them get the buff and seen the results of the buff that they got to their bonus damage, but they're still a decently hard card to play. They're not very versatile, and they tend to just get killed a lot of the time. They are easier to get to the tower. That's definitely a benefit of them. They're not horrible, but the Wall Breaker Evo isn't all that, so they land at 20. At 19, we have the Goblin Barrel. The Goblin Barrel is still definitely lower than it used to be because of the, I don't know if it's necessarily because of the nerf it got to its decoy barrel. People didn't really use it for the decoy barrel. People used it, well, like, they didn't use it to throw people off. They used it to make dual lane pressure. They'd tank for the barrel in one lane and let the actual barrel in the other lane go to town. And it would just create a dual lane split pressure that's really hard to defend. And that's kind of still the case. Evo Barrel is definitely winning bait a lot of matchups it wouldn't normally win. But it's not the greatest card in the meta. So at 18, Firecracker. This is the most popular evolution in all of Clash Royale. But the top ladder stats have it as bottom 5. So I wanted to balance it out because I obviously have seen the pain of going up against the Evo Firecracker. Suffers similar fate to the Archers, where the Archers like just dot arrows before they can get value. Firecracker usually does the same thing, but the Firecracker will get more consistent value than the Archers usually, and better value. And the Firecracker, while being you know, one of the most popular Evos for a good reason, is not as strong as maybe the overall ranked stats suggest, and I think top 1000 makes it clear that it's not that great of a card. At 17, we have the Goblin Giant. This thing definitely fell off from that Gob Giant Pekka meta where it was like top 3 in the game, but the Goblin Giant is still strong. It's just you know, they give it what the hit speed nerf to the spear goblins and the spawn speed nerf. It's a balanced evolution. I'd say it's balanced. You could definitely feel the pain when you're going up against him and you don't have the right hand for it, but you can also counter him pretty easily if you do have the right hand for him. So I think he's pretty balanced, and he's definitely strong some circumstances, weak some circumstances. Yeah, I'm fine with the Gob Giant. At 16 is the Electro Dragon. Now this is a, you have to hear me out. The Electro Dragon is very not versatile, and in the current meta, there are maybe 2 or 3 decks that use the E-Drag evolution. I'd say maybe Golem, Lumberloon, and maybe E-Golem, but those decks aren't very good regardless of the Evo E-Dragon. So I don't think it's necessarily the E-Drag as a balancing thing. I still think it's a broken, but it's a freaking Electro Dragon. Like, first of all, the base E-Drag is one of the worst cards in the game. So you have to put up with base E-Drag, and you have to fit it in a deck, which all the decks it's used in aren't very good right now. So the E-Drag is just not going to have the crazy stats it usually would have. I think it's still a strong Evo, but you can't rank it higher than this. At number 15, we've got Diddy. You know, Diddy is one of my favorite evolutions. This thing is absolutely insane. However, I can't rank it higher because the cannon is just better, and in a lot of decks, you really need the DPS or the support that the cannon brings you. The cage is fun. The normal cage isn't that good. The Evo cage is really fun because the brawler also survives lightning. Both of them, I think. So, I mean, surviving lightning is pretty cool. And I think Diddy is definitely a very strong evolution. It's pretty versatile, and you'll get value out of it a lot of the time you use it. Next up, we have Royal Recruits. Now, these are another card that I'm not entirely basing off of top 1000 stats. Top 1000 stats have this card in the bottom 10. I refuse to agree with that. I have gone against recruits. I have seen the community complain about recruits. It is the most no-skill evolution in the game, in my opinion. You just plop it down, and then you go Gob Gang in the middle, and then you go Mighty Miner one lane, Skelly Barrel one lane, Goblin split the middle, Wallbreaker split the middle, Firecrackers. I don't know. You just do things, and it does all the work for you. You just put them down, clogs up both lanes, plays defense and offense. This thing is stupid. It's ridiculous. I have to rank it higher than the stats would show because I'm using common sense, bruh. Evo Mortar coming up next. This might be the one the most casuals argue with me about, but the Mortar is extremely strong. Maybe, I mean, it has better stats, like a 6% win rate, or, oh my god, 6% use rate. It has better stats than a lot of the other evolutions on this list, and you could tell the difference. There's not a single base mortar used in the top 1000. The Evo Mortar always gets good value, always applies insane pressure, and can turn games around entirely by itself. Probably with the help of like a cannon cart and a miner though. At number 12, Mega Knight. This thing is really strong. It's one of those Evos where on top ladder, it's sitting at a 5% use rate. And it's not insane right now. But there are like 17 evolutions between 3 and 6% use rate. So I'm not entirely basing it off of use rate. I base it off of win rate too, and how good the decks are, and if they're in the top 200. The Mega Knight is an all-around menace, everywhere on ladder. On top 1000, very annoying to try and deal with. He's a win condition stopper. On mid ladder, mid ladder is even worse, because people don't know how to deal with him. And he's very strong, very strong. I feel like people don't give him a lot of credit a lot of time. They say, oh, just skill issue. But Mega Knight Evo is really good, really good. The Musketeer at 11 is, you know, this is kind of funny. I put it at 11 because Trey Young. But anyways, I mean, the Musketeer is very, very strong. And I think a lot of people underrate her. And I think ever since she got her recent buff, the Musketeer's first hit speed is going from here to here. I used to think she was really bad. And then I started to see more decks using her. I started to see the win rate climb, the use rate climb. I'm about to sneeze. Everything in her statistics has climbed. She got a buff, and honestly, she's really good at taking out buildings. And the problem is, there are a lot of matchups out there where she just won't get value. It's just how it is. So she's not going to crack the top 8 or top 5 anytime soon. But the Musketeer, very strong, can win you entire games with her sniper ability. I take it back. This is the one the most people are going to argue with me about. Bats have an 8% use rate and a very high win rate. I believe last time I checked it was at 50% plus. And this thing... Look, man, the bats lead to wins, bro. It's just how it is. The bats get you wins. You spell bait with them, and they turn in from a zap bait card that nobody has to worry about to an arrows bait card that gets thousands of damage on the tower unchecked. The bats can single-handedly turn the game around and allow your cards that would normally die to arrows, such as Firecracker, minions, minion hordes, you know, etc., archers, Evo archers. Think about having the Evo bats to arrows bait to set up your Evo archers to get crazy value. There is not just the impact from what the bats do, but what they open up for the rest of your deck. The bats are very good. The stats reflect that. And, bro, dealing with bats is not fun. At number 9, we have the Bomber. The Bomber is always... He's been in the top 10, I think, every Evo ranking. He's very strong. He's very versatile, he's cheap, he's easy to use, he will always get value, and he turns into another win condition for your deck for the measly cost of 2 elixir. This guy has nothing wrong with him, except that he could be better on defense, but he's just an offensive tank. He's like a Firecracker, but better and easier to get to, and I love the Bomber. I think he's amazing. I think he's fallen off a little bit, but he still remains with a very high upside with almost no downside to using him. Next up, we have the Evo Valkyrie. She's very strong, very versatile, especially in mid ladder. Although on top ladder, her stats aren't insane. Still with an 8% use rate and a 50% win rate, she's very good. She's kind of, her stats are being inflated by Lava Hound, I think. Lava Hound and Bait, she's still very good. She's still very, very good outside of the top ladder as well. And she can turn entire games around by herself, getting you defenses you probably wouldn't have normally gotten with maybe your entire deck. I do have the Hunter unlocked on my other account. I haven't bought the pass route on this account yet, okay? Just to clear up anybody, you're ranking the Evos, I even having them unlocked. I have it unlocked. Hunter coming in at number 7. Now this is a obviously a hot take because it's very early in the lifespan of the Hunter, but so far it's been extremely crazy. It's winning entire games by itself with its net that not only keeps people in place, it keeps them from attacking, so ranged cards can't attack. The Hunter, he will protect himself better. He can get Evo Valkyries to stop doing things. He can get win conditions to stop doing things. He can completely like immobilize entire pushes, and I think he's very strong. His knock is going to be his 2-card cycle, and his like inability to fit in a ton of decks. But I mean, should be fine. I think if you're like on the fence if you should buy this Evo or not, you should definitely do it. Number 6, we get the little Oxalates. The Oxalates are very, they're good. They're harder to use. They're way harder to use. But the sheer fact that it's a 1 elixir card that can end up getting game-changing value of 4 to 5 plus elixir positive trades just make this thing irresistible. Now, yes, they will get counted a lot of the time pretty easily, but your opponent has to focus so much more on you having Evo Skellies that it's very difficult to try and deal with that unless they're a very good player. And if you play your Skellies well, you will get crazy value out of them almost every time you play them. Number 5 is the Ice Spirit. I think it's definitely... It's so weird to me because the 3 stuns they had were ridiculously broken, and the 2 stuns they had were a huge nerf. It's a huge nerf to go to 2 stuns. But the use rate, the win rate, of the Ice Spirit has not gone down almost at all. It's still very powerful. It's still going to be able to bail you out. It may be less powerful against eye towers and eye drags and things like that, but the Ice Spirit, just being in almost every cycle deck and having no competition outside of, like, there's no spirit that you would rather use, makes the Ice Spirit a gimme and is just a bonus in any single cycle deck. At number 4, we have the Knight. Now, I don't exactly know why he's top 4. He's top 4 because of his win rate and his use rate. There are 150 people using him in the top 1,000. 15% win rate, or use rate, is top 4 in Clash Royale, and I don't really understand why. I mean, I know it's good in Graveyard, I know he's a good tank, I barely even see the Knight, so I don't know. I mean, you can't rank him lower, you just can't. There's no card that has, there's no other troop, I'll say, that has a use rate like the Knight. It's really weird. I don't know what, maybe it's just completely going over my head what decks he's used in. But his win rate is high, his use rate is extremely high, so the Knight will land at top 4. The Zap. Now this is one of them that people are gonna argue with me about. This thing has a 20% use rate in the top 1,000. Very versatile. And I think one of the things people underrate about it is you're gonna be able to kill minion hordes with the Zap. You're gonna be able to kill Evo Archers, you're gonna be able to kill Firecrackers, Dart Gobs. Combined with another spell, you're gonna be able to kill things like E-Drag. With Fireball, Evo Zap, you're going to kill E-Drag, you're going to kill Queen. The Zap has so many, it's so versatile, and it has so many little interactions that it changes. Like, it changes the entire game around, and it's like you're running mirror arrows. It's kind of what it is. And it gives you a double stun and extra damage. So it's understandable why it's a top 3 Evo in the game, and I'm willing to die on that hill, I think. Number 2, the Cannon. Whoppingly high, is that a word? Whoppingly high use rate. 30% in the top 100 to 1,000. This thing is insane because not only is its barrage like extremely valuable, the cannon itself is one of the best things we've seen in the game, and it is getting a nerf. I'm factoring that into it. The hit speed nerf is not enough to make other buildings viable again. I know we want to make buildings great again, but right now we are still in the cannon monopoly. That will not change. The barrage is amazing. The cost is amazing. The cycle you get because of the cost is amazing. The cannon, base cannon is amazing. And the Evo is amazing. And it looks cool. And the Lumberjack with the highest use rate in Clash Royale. Visibly so. An insanely high win rate. This thing is oh my god, we gotta be on alert watch because there's a Lumberjack that died within 50 meters of my tower. That means we're gonna take an extra 2,000 damage. He's insane. The pressure on offense, on defense, the fact that the rage spell does damage so you can use him as a mini swarm counter, the Lumberjack's offensive potential, defensive potential, versatility. This thing is absolutely broken, and I please want to see a significant nerf, man. I don't know how he dodged the final balance changes. We all asked him to nerf it. I don't know if he was on vacation or something, but this guy is unbelievably broken, and everybody watching this video knows exactly why he's broken, because I guarantee you've lost your tower to it before. Lumberjack's easily number 1 Evo in the game right now. Hope you enjoyed that Evo ranking. Feel free to argue with me in the comments, and make sure to like the video.